All right, good evening, guys. I'm a little under the weather. My voice is kind of with me, kind of not, so I'm going to do my best. Fortunately, I don't have a whole lot to go over personally tonight, but we have a packed agenda. We'd be out of here by 7:25-ish, so we can get to the board meeting, obviously. First on the agenda will be Northampton Township. We're here to talk about the trailhead at Welsh Elementary School, the need for an easement. After they're finished, they can head on their way if they wish. And we're going to talk a little bit about the two middle school projects. And lastly, just a real brief update on the capital projects that are out to bid right now. So we're going to turn it over to Bob Pellegrino and Nancy Opaka to talk about the Welsh portion of it. Why did I use this? No problem. A little bit easier, I think.
You're also okay. I already put it on the end of the table. Perfect.
All right. Let's hope you can all see. Okay.
You know what?
Sorry?
I just want to look at the slides that you have up. It's better than that.
The slide is the same.
So I'm going to leave the slide.
You can walk me, but there was a better.
This one's colored.
It doesn't matter. Use the other.
Have dinner?
That's probably a little better, so.
You know.
All right. The township, just a little by way of background, the township acquired a 2-acre parcel from the federal government many years ago. And when you acquire property like we did with our park, municipal park, we have to submit a plan of use for that property, and the government has to approve it, and every year we have to file reports for 30 years on whether we're complying with the plan of use that's on record with that. So we acquired this 2-acre piece next to the school 10, 15 years ago. And originally it was going to be a well location for the municipal authority. We drilled a well and tested the water, and it was fine, had plenty of draw, but they ultimately decided it didn't fit within their strategic plan. And we ended up back at the property. We had a lease arrangement with them. We've been struggling to try and figure out what to do with that parcel for quite a while. And the federal government has been on our back to give them a new plan of use. The bottom line is if we don't come up with a plan of use, they get the property back. And we don't really, it's 2 acres here. We don't know what they intend to do with it. They could do anything with it. So we put a survey out to the community, and we asked the community what they thought would be a good use for this particular piece of property. We had looked at maybe a practice soccer field. We looked at a dog park. We looked at community gardens. And one of the options was simply to reduce our cost to comply with the federal requirements, a trailhead to get to Municipal Park. So coincidentally, the survey results came back with that being the highest and best use that our residents thought for the property. We had an amazing return on the survey. We did it through Survey Monkey, I guess. We had like 1,200 respondents to this survey. Very good response. But in order to do that, and just to orient you, Municipal Park entrance is here, and that's the park, the school here. The 2-acre piece is down here. In order to do this, we would need an easement from the district along this line right here to tie into an existing trail that we have. Our intent would be to construct a stone parking lot on this property, maybe 10 or 12 cars. I'm not sure what the engineer designed. 10, and that would be it. So we're here to ask you if you would be kind enough to grant us an easement to build this thing and connect this property to our park. Nancy will tell you.
When I was out at the property a number of times, there's an existing sidewalk that comes from Camberley, and it crosses over this 2-acre piece. And then people leave that, and they're of adult age, and will take the trail into the school area. with their bikes and their dogs. And that's when Bob and I started talking, saying, well, maybe that would be a really good fit to put a trailhead there, because that would also eliminate those people from going this way to get into the farm and just access that trail.
You know, it's not proper signage and all that would direct people, if they're intending to go to this trail here or to the park, that direction. Now, we are willing to, and I don't know what the concerns of the district are, probably safety, security, or some of the things. We don't have that now necessarily either, people just want to intervene sometimes. But, you know, we could landscape this side of the trail if that's something that we want us to do, or fence or whatever, we could see a way to do that.
Could we take that little piece of sidewalk trail that heads up to the school just out? I'm asking.
This one?
Yeah, I'm asking in general.
You could.
That way we
Sure.
direct them.
Who owns that?
There were students who go use that,
That's-
so.
that's why I'm asking.
I don't know if there's a bus, if the buses come onto Frog Hollow, Kimberly, if they bring them around, or if they're.
That may be a mistake.
You know what, I'm looking at it here, I'm looking at it on Google Earth.
Okay.
Like they're showing.
Okay.
And for me, taking the sidewalk out, first of all, I don't think we maintain the sidewalk, who maintains that sidewalk?
I have to go check.
Who plows it in the winter?
We, Jim, if it's
Yeah,
coming
it's
off the bus
connected
line.
to your bus loop, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well-
it's connected to the bus stop, so we,
I
What is it now?
think-
probably it's for walkers from Frog Hollow.
Who maintain, who's,
Jerry, I think that was part of when Maureen Wiltshire was.
so that's the question, so I mean,
Okay.
I wouldn't take it out, because right now, the other thing, it gives the community access without going onto our property. in the front.
That leads into my second question, who's gonna maintain this new sidewalk or trail that you're taking up?
I'm sorry?
Who's gonna maintain the
We
new
would.
trail?
Yeah, it'll be ours.
You got.
We maintain the other trails.
I was just asking,
Yeah, we would do that.
somebody's gonna ask me.
In winter, we put signs up that we don't plow them,
Okay.
clear them with weather,
I mean-
but once we get to them, you know, that's.
Right now, the township, even though it's on school district property, maintains these facilities.
That I knew, that
By
I knew.
agreement. If you recall, some of you may have been here years ago, at least it's my understanding that the township actually had acquired all of this property from the federal government. And the school district had also been looking at this site for a school. And ultimately, the township agreed to have the school occupy about a 32-acre piece here. So we carved made our park smaller, so we can build a school. And I guess these facilities we built, right? And we maintain those.
How's that work legally? Excuse my ignorance. If we've got a trail that runs, is this a trail that's got to be maintained? Say it gets icy, somebody slips and falls.
As long as we post it, and.
So even though it's on school property, we've got no liability for anything around the trails that you put in.
I mean, if we have to maintain that for those purposes, then we would.
Well, I was very clear on one thing, you made it sound like, you know, you built those fields, and that was the township built those fields. The township built those fields at an expense which was offset by an increased expense in the gymnasium at Welsh,
Okay.
which offset that. And
Okay.
truthfully, when you come to the final accounting, the $364,000 more we spent on the Welsh gym was supposed to be offset by the cost. And some of us took issue with the challenge that creating those fields was $364,000.
Oh, I could easily see that.
Well, some of us take issue with that challenge, based on the cost of developing the whole park. But, so it wasn't free, the district paid for those by building the expansion of the gym.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. As far as the liability question, I would assume we will have a maintenance agreement that requires the township to maintain that section of the trail, like we do the rest of them. And that would put liability, shift liability to us.
You know,
You know, in a litigation, everybody gets sued, but we, in this case, through agreement, would be primary.
So it would be your responsibility to plow that parking lot?
This little lot here?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, if we decide to do that. You told me we don't maintain the trails.
We don't plow our parking lots till everything else in the town is
So not
done.
park.
Until everything else is done.
It would
They
fall-
can get to it.
Then we get to it.
Yeah.
Then we don't necessarily, last year, we had a really hard time getting to that and then getting to the trails because we had so much cold weather.
Are the other parking lots for that park, I don't think they are lit? Are they lighted parking lots? Is there lighting in the other parking lots?
Yes.
Will there be lighting in this parking lot?
No, we had not anticipated like that. We'll close it at dusk.
Yeah, I asked the question because.
This park is closed at dusk too.
Yes. No, it's closed at dusk, but there are items that run after dusk. Your theater program runs at dusk.
Yeah,
Did you ever put lights there? That was a big contentious thing. No lights, no? But you run the theater.
Only parking lot lights and security lights around.
The nature of my question really goes to a few things. One is, having that parking lot there is very nice. When we have kids, when we have back to school night, parking is always a challenge in all of our schools. So it's nice to have that, and it's not lit. Makes it a little more problematic for the people who might want to park there and then traverse that walkway to get to the school. Because parking for back to school night at every school is a challenge. We never built schools for 400 parents. So that was one question. For me, I don't have a great objection to this as an isolated item, but I wanted to look at this tonight in concert with the other items that the township is asking for us to do.
that's not fair, Jeremy.
Is this a new job? It's a separate deal.
It's a separate deal.
Well, you know,
Let me address your question on lighting.
He just beat the rest of us to it, that's all.
Let me address your question on lighting. I would not be opposed to some lighting on this parking lot if that helps the district. We would have to be cognizant of its impact on the neighbors, but I think they're so far away, there's
There's a lot of
a lot of vegetation here. I don't think it's gonna affect these folks either.
I actually get asked the question twofold. One is for our access. I don't want to have bright lighting. I also want to have it
I know what
that's
you mean.
controllable, that the officers, because those people who live nearby, you know, that's, our lights are on to provide some aspects that people aren't behind the schools.
We are very fortunate, our police, like to hang out there.
I know.
I mean, they do, and we do a patrolman that actually goes through the parking. I get calls, you know, actually the bathrooms aren't locked, it's one like, well, they lock at 9, it's 10 of 9.
I'm good with it. That's why I asked. I'm not asking for bright lights on
No,
and
I'm saying,
unacceptable.
I think we'd be open to that. I don't think that's a big problem.
For me, you know, just trying to understand what the total impact is to the district of other things the township wants. That's
Go
what
ahead,
I'm.
you open the door.
You know, it is seldom that we have leverage.
You would have disappointed us if you didn't, Jerry.
I think we both have leverage.
I know. It is seldom that we.
But I
That's
also
serious.
want to emphasize to those school board members who many do, that the township and the district have always had a very good working relationship in many, many projects. And we do provide relief to you as we did with Holland.
How's that learning program working out?
Good,
Okay.
good.
Yeah, let's not call leverage at the end of the day, our mutual taxpayers pay for everything that we do.
That's
So
correct.
we need to
That's correct.
get to a good place.
Let me ask, since Terry brought up, I think the crosswalk issue is resolved essentially. And
Cheers, that's it.
We know the Holland and.
I can see Joe.
East Holland and Buck.
I fought a good fight.
Yeah, I think that's, East Holland and Buck, I think is resolved.
I mean, whether people are satisfied with that, I can't answer, but
We think the cost on $78,000.
the off-site improvements for the restriping is something we talked about, fee in lieu of perhaps.
Yes, we have for that, we have estimates from our traffic engineer for minimum improvements to do striping and for full-blown improvements to really improve the intersection. And they vary from, I'm gonna say 75 or 80,000 to 280,000.
Right.
So we're talking about the minimum here. When you and I had some conversations, we met with Dr. Frazier, I'm the one, you blame me, who suggested, because your two administrators here were vociferous about protecting your interests. I'm the one who said to them, maybe the township will consider a fee in lieu of improvements, and we'll do the work down the road. And by the way, that's not something, as I explained to you gentlemen in the meeting, that we have to do right away. We don't really need to do that work until we close Richmond. So this could be something, it didn't have to be part of the project now. I think you were relieved to hear that because you were trying to get your bid out. And so it's something we can certainly work on. I have not discussed with my board the idea of a fee in lieu, but I think they would be amenable to that.
Towards the
Improvements. and
towards the
then we'll-
minimal.
Towards the minimum improvements, and then we'll do the work. So it involves, the minimum improvement involves some widening of the intersection, but it does not require additional right-of-way, at least according to our traffic engineer. And the cost that I gave you does not contemplate a full overlay of Holland Road, which we're not sure PennDOT's going to require or not. If they require that, obviously, we're going to push back, but that's going to add to the cost.
So what will be important for us now, so we can resolve the cost of this and, we can have further discussion with the board later about that piece. What we'll need though, then, is something to tell PE that we're not looking for an approval from PennDOT for that now,
Correct.
in order to execute contracts and get a permit for new.
Well, whatever you need for
Or we
that,
just need equipment for the cost in lieu of, and then I don't care what happens after that, because as long
I mean,
as the dollars on the cost in lieu of, they can do whatever they want
Once
to
we know,
do.
once we know the dollar amount is, we can bring
Yeah,
it
but,
back to you.
And that's all I need.
Agreed.
I'll emphasize again, that's not something that we expect or needs to be done immediately.
Right.
But we can work through this, and I can share with you, the plans that, McMahon came up with for the intersection, include both the minimum and.
Yeah, I think I have both of these.
Did he send them to you?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask, because you brought it up, the crosswalks, Holland and Buck, what was the resolution there?
They'll be constructed.
On Council side,
Yes, you would construct them as part of your project. I think they're part of your bid package.
And that was my concern is not Council Rock's time, I know it should be, it's that they don't connect to another sidewalk.
They're going to across the street.
And my request to you is to maybe go back to your board, and can we put those in when there's a sidewalk on the other side of the street? So we're not encouraging children to cross Buck Road and then walk on
And then walk on.
on those, that's a really dangerous, I'm not disagreeing with the crosswalks.
I understand.
I would like to see them
I
held
don't know
until,
how that works with your bidding process.
and that's why I'm bringing it up at this meeting, so, but that,
When are you
in
thinking?
lieu of, again,
Well, the sidewalks on the other side of the street depend on when the Waverly subdivision is constructed. They have all their plan approvals. We do not yet have a development and escrow agreement signed with them, the developer. So timing on that, I'm not sure about.
Within 2 years.
Developer
But
dependent.
that we're not.
Oh, yeah,
doing
within 2
project
years.
till-
So what we would have to do in our bid documents, this is an alternate bid item, just so we can know the price. We would have to say that our contractors would construct this in the final summer.
Yeah,
In the final summer of our project, but they would need to know that. Now, so we have to issue that in the addendum.
That's when it was.
The work associated with that alternate is built in the final summer of construction.
or 18 before it opens, because they usually have those.
Exactly,
later
summer of
dates.
18.
Yeah.
Oh, you would do 18,
We
not
would-
actually.
so just so I'm understanding, just to summarize a few things. So we're thinking of maybe $78,000-$80,000 for round numbers for the minimal work over East Hall.
Depending on what PennDOT says about overlay, we have to get
Well,
clarification from them.
I hear what you're saying, except I'm saying if it's 80,000 and the overlay is more expensive, then is that the township? Because that's 80,000. This was an additional approximately $80,000. It's $160,000 of offset improvements that the township is asking for. The only other thing I'll mention, as a resident of the area where that sidewalk is going in, that sidewalk is going to create an additional 1,500 by 4 1,500 feet by 4 feet of sidewalk space that the Hills of Northampton are now going to be obligated to clear, right?
That's correct.
So that's-
You on the other side of the street.
Yeah, well, that's the Hills of Northampton, where I live, that's the homeowners association, so that's gonna be a new liability for the Hills of Northampton to maintain this in addition to the
That's
others.
correct.
This is, I think we figured out it's another 40%. It's 40% additional to the non sidewalk we clear now. That's my residence. So it's $160,000 offset improvements you're asking us to
Well, we're not asking you.
do. When you're telling
You
us.
already agreed.
Well, this one we
I mean, you
agreed
have
to.
a plan approval for the one.
Right.
The other one is, it is what it is. I mean, that's part of the condition of approval. It's not.
Which one, the crosswalk
The crosswalks.
is what it is.
And to some extent, Holland and East Holland. It says restriping, that is not necessarily just putting paint on the road. Because in order to restripe, to stripe for the turn lanes, some widening is required and some other work's required. And again, it's going to depend on what PennDOT says as to whether they're going to want, how much overlay they're going to want or not. In that estimate, they put in the minimum required to finish the intersection. But sometimes PennDOT is unreasonable, and we can work with them on that too.
And if it's widening, just from your understanding.
It's not much.
If it's widening, under whose power of eminent domain will the property be taken from the
There's no-
property owner?
I said earlier, there's no additional right-of-way required. Minimum can be done without taking additional right-of-way. And if there was additional right-of-way necessarily, we would take it.
Are the board and the township sharing the cost of the Holland and that intersection restriping?
Holland, East Holland?
Yeah.
No, not right now, but if we were to do the full-blown plan, obviously, that's not something we would ask you to do. Your obligation is to restripe. Whatever that requires, if it's $80,000, whatever the number is, that's your obligation. The rest of it would be on the township. If we did more than what was minimally required, that would be on us.
It's the definition of what is restriped is what is open.
But the other project across Buck Road was a condition of the township for us to do the renovations to the
Yes,
school.
both of them are actually. Both of them are. It's just the one at Holland, East Holland is a little more, let's say, fuzzy, because the costs vary depending on what's done. The traffic engineer says, this is really what you should do, and that's the higher number, but this is what you can do minimally. And that's our call then, is to decide. We're not gonna ask you to do more than the minimum.
And Doug, sorry, were we required to do the crosswalk with the
Yes.
renovations over Holland? Not by them, but I mean required by the
No,
other
this
one.
is, your point's very important, Andy. Both of these requirements are locally generated requirements. They are not coming to us from PDE to say that we must do this. These are locally generated requirements by Northampton Township.
Correct.
Just like we get from every
Who could-
township,
who could
we
wait
get
for
where
us?
we do is,
Right.
Yeah.
Just like other towns have waived
well,
other things.
I'm just saying, you
We're not-
know.
We're much more friendly than those other two. You know that.
I'd be a lot more comfortable if you said the $80,000 is the fee we're gonna pay for the restriping, if you want me very frank. And not knowing the fee, having it out there and not having it be a soft fee is very challenging, as it would be if you were in our position.
Sure, absolutely.
So I would say that. Frankly, you came here to talk about this parking,
I want to make sure you're all clear on the other projects too, since Gary brought it up. He said,
So it's my fault.
so kind to bring that up.
You know, we so seldom see you. I'm happy you're on.
So the 80,000, I mean, that's what our engineer pegged it at, and I'll ask him to reach out to PennDOT and see what their position is on that. I'm hoping that's all it is. And again, that's not something we need to do right away.
It doesn't matter how, when we need to do it.
Or if you-
Frankly, if we won't wait for 3 years, it won't be 80,000, it'll be 120,000.
Well,
So I
or
think
you-
it's not as
I
important.
want to be careful because I
Yeah,
do
we'll
that.
give him the fee. I'm
Well,
happy
you're
to
right,
do that.
see that, if I give him the fee for it, I conclude and calm down. If I do it at
That's
some
better for us.
distance in the future, where I don't know what it is, and it comes after my
I'm
plan
gonna try to give you the
I
money.
don't
that
get
you
the money
guys-
back from the state.
We can,
Start working on it.
I'm not gonna get it back in.
I was gonna say, they don't.
They won't give it to you.
But either way, I just as soon give it to you guys, let you guys do it.
we can get a fairly accurate estimate.
Just because it's not us giving him money, it's taxpayers.
Yes, yes,
I know. Plus,
I
that's
would
why
ask
we're
that
making
same
the
thing
argument.
for this crosswalk, so that should be put in the.
I'm good with both.
Yeah.
They're-
Yeah, I have serious concerns with putting crosswalks in that aren't connected to sidewalks.
I've heard that,
That is,
and I hear that loud and clear.
yeah, that,
We'll give you
Not
your
the
money,
crosswalk,
you guys
it's
give them all
right,
the money,
but
you
it's
can
right
have
out.
it.
Don't shoot the messenger on that one. My supervisors have a strong policy of putting sidewalks wherever they can get.
We know those.
So in saying that, we're fortunate they didn't ask for it along Buck Road.
Yeah, we waived it, we waived the curb, we waived widening on East Holland, we granted 10 waivers for this project, for the Holland project, you know, we
So now,
cut
Jerry,
it
we're
right?
gonna take a check box here.
And we always give you a break.
That's fine, that they're trying to save the taxpayers some money, but there's always money to save the taxpayers.
We always give you a break on your permit fees too, and I can tell you
And our
that
taxpayers appreciate that.
permit fees, yes, you have to remember, we're giving
Not sure my taxpayers
Newtown
appreciate it.
break, we're giving Wrightstown a break, we're giving up Mayfield
You
break.
should talk.
We're paying for the schools for the Northampton children, they appreciate that.
We're gonna be coming in for permits.
I think the point though about connecting to the other crosswalk, first of all, I truly do appreciate all the generosity and what is waived and whatever, but that crosswalk on Buck Road is a contentious issue because no matter what you say, and I understand that the supervisors want these sidewalks, at that location, there's no part of me that thinks a crosswalk there is a good idea, whether it connects to another sidewalk or not. The line of sight there is kind of crazy. The approaching road on Buck Road has a hill, but it's a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. I don't want any kid walking there ever. So I do appreciate your generosity. I wish that wasn't happening. But to the point, if it must be there, to have it be a sidewalk on the nowhere is an issue.
The township system, which is an attractive nuisance, has an obligation.
The other thing is-
to put it in.
I appreciate that you said that you think the board would be favorable to a cash and lose
Me
situation.
too.
But I was at that meeting that night. And at that moment in time, and I know that was, a few months ago, there was zero openness to that at that moment. So,
No, that was for Buck and East Holland. I'm talking about Holland and East Holland.
okay,
Yeah, this-
Holland and East Holland, Buck and East Holland's a done deal. You guys are putting it out to bid as part of your project.
It's out there.
Yeah, it's done. Holland, East Holland,
okay.
I think for the striping project, I think they would be amenable to a fee.
And this
I haven't
was-
talked to them again, so,
I know you have to get back to them, that would be a much better solution for us.
What did you need an answer on this side?
just remember, if you see any of my supervisors and you tell them that, the manager said they could take a fee in lieu, they don't know that yet.
It's on tape.
It's on tape.
It's on YouTube, and Bob, it's live, sorry.
Sorry.
When do you need a decision on this trailhead?
What's our timetable? We're pretty soon. We were supposed to get them a decision last month. And the meeting with the lady, which is perfectly understandable. So next 30 days maybe, is that reasonable?
You have 6 board members here who are not voting on it, but I'm not hearing anybody who's raising any objection to it at this point. So you can certainly say that you have 6 people who are not objecting to it out of the board of 9. We would like to get the finalization of
Yeah.
what's.
I would say, Jerry, I'm not there yet.
Okay, then you got fine. I'm looking for that, so that's why I'm asking about
We'll
objection.
need a maintenance agreement, put in the maintenance responsibility on the township for that piece of trail.
Would anybody,
And an easement agreement.
would anybody be opposed, since, I'm just asking, of the people here, would anybody be opposed to allowing, again, this, I'll give them the same framework as we're doing the land swap, that this is something that if you want to put together a pro forma agreement or structure around what you think it would be,
We can do that.
then we can come back to the board through Rob Cox and decide if we want to go forward. Otherwise, we're talking about the clouds. I'd like to see something.
Yes.
Everybody
We should look at
and-
it if we need any kind of fencing along, or gets close to what I believe. Just to make sure we're, so more detail.
about everything.
Good hope.
More detailed plan. But you have to tell me if you want those kinds of things.
I think we'll know more when we actually see it, because when I do it in this scale and I see where trees are, should I hit a line, I'll go next to where we actually have our. So I just want to make sure that from a scale standpoint, there's a lot, you're coming on the other side of the trees.
Yeah, that's why I said this is better.
Well, there's no trees, so I
There's
can't.
no trees, you're right.
This is an old Google Earth, so if you go out there, it's fine, more closer to you.
It's pretty substantial trees. Those trees have matured quite a bit.
Yeah, they're mature trees.
They've gotten much more mature in time.
It just shows where you think it is, so I can see the trees.
Okay,
I'll hold on, find
you want us
out.
to do like a Google Earth
Yeah, and
map that shows, we can do that.
You know, we can see proximity.
You can see where the vegetation is.
So I think
We can go
the
there and walk it.
feeling I'm getting from the board at this point, in general, is they're open to it. I think there are 5 who are pretty positive on it, there's one who's in reserve at this point, of where we are, board members joined. And if you give us some things a little more concrete to look at, as well as to review from a document perspective, I think we can talk about that as a board. And
There's gonna be 2
work pretty
documents.
relevant.
One's an easement document, granting the easement, the other would be.
And a better description of if you're gonna, and I'll leave it to you if you're gonna allow it, or if you're not gonna allow it, so we know.
Well, you know, we can kick that around.
Parking lot, it's only 10 spots.
Yeah. More money.
I just don't wanna make it burdensome to you to get power to it, but I think you probably have power.
We can do it.
You're the township. I'm being sensitive.
With
to
that being
spending
said, maybe you
taxpayer
should
money.
stay for the rest of the meeting.
Anybody have any final
There
thoughts?
is a street there too, I don't know if that street's lit, so that you may find.
It probably is. If we needed power, it's right
Well, you may have lighting right there.
there. Yeah,
Too, so
that's a good point.
You know, it's.
Okay, so I will let you, yeah, everybody's comfortable with this, just because we have one member of the public. Is there any public comment or questions about this item? We're good?
Are there any questions I can answer for you, Andy?
Not at this point.
Reservations.
No, but I appreciate you putting this together. Fundamentally, I'm not against an improvement for the community. It's just, you know, the quid pro quo police that as a representative of another township's money, I have to be thoughtful about. So
Okay.
Bob, yeah, so you have enough that you can work together to the next step.
Yeah.
And then we'll include Rob Cox for the review.
Yeah, we know.
You know,
I know John.
Sure.
All right, thank you all. Appreciate it.
Let me give you a.
Call me at 4:30.
Well, it didn't sound like I'm always. Let me, quick go over some middle school stuff. Couple meetings coming up. 31st of March, we'll be back to talk about the bids for both projects. April 7th, we'll be a board meeting to hopefully review and approve the contracts for those 2 projects.
So on the 31st, are we going to be talking about spending patterns?
I believe,
So we're gonna have a conversation about capital planning on the 17th at our board meeting, because the 31st meeting is gonna be too busy to do that, and the vote takes place at 7, so we're gonna accelerate some conversation. So we're
So on
gonna
this, our
do,
next.
this next board meeting, we will have a capital planning discussion, which hopefully will encompass the areas that I'm sure we'll all want to get into before we are put in a position to vote on some of this stuff.
So we talked about some of the outstanding items as we move forward here. The crosswalk at Buck and East Holland is basically a done deal, which we talked about. The restriping at Holland, East Holland, we don't have PennDOT approval on anything at that intersection, so them removing that as an obligation is helpful for us. We can move forward. This was the original drawing, which was about $250,000 worth of work when we first estimated it. The revised drawing, as he says, around 80,000. Hoping we can come somewhere below that. So we'll work with them and report to you.
So I'm just processing what you said, Andy. What kind of communication will we be doing to the community if there's going to be an extensive conversation, particularly around sending areas?
I didn't necessarily say particularly around sending areas, but there'll be a conversation around planning, capital planning relative to timelines, approach, that kind of thing. Robert's going to mention that tonight, I think, in his superintendent's report. At least that was a conversation that we shared a few hours ago.
NBCMA worked with us, cooperated, and at the end of the day came up with revised or amended rules and regulations that basically did not require us to pay any fees for this project. We are, however, placing a meter pit in the 2 meters for Hillcrest, and basically results in a savings of somewhere around $114,000 to us, not paying that fee. That was the original request. This top item on Holland, the code review was an issue at the time. It's since then been resolved, and that's being addressed in an addenda. The big one is the sewer planning module approval, which we don't need, but we're required to add to get. We're hoping that, sorry, it's not funny.
I'm sorry, yes, it is, it's very funny.
It's not funny to me.
If it hurts, then I feel badly, but it sounds funny.
No, just my pride. We're hoping that we can get the sewer planning module issue resolved to a point where we can get the permit in hand and start construction, because without that approval, you really can't move forward with the work based on PD's requirements. In speaking with the township, we believe they're going to work with us on this issue. We have no issues with sewer capacity at all. So this shouldn't be problematic, but it is a potential issue if they weren't to cooperate. Sightline easement at College State Park is resolved. We're waiting for a letter from PennDOT, and that is no longer, does not appear to be a problem. So other than those 2 issues, we're good to go. PlanCon will be back with Part C, Part F, Attachment C, and Part G at the April 7th meeting. This work that we've been doing.
Can I ask a question about the bids? So while these bids are out and everyone's busily, constructing, because they haven't submitted the bids, right?
We received bids for Newtown Middle School
Okay.
Tuesday and Thursday. We had some issues with prevailing wage rates. We couldn't accept bids for electrical or mechanical because the wrong rates were issued to the contractors. The bids were due. We found out that they still had the wrong rates after being issued twice.
Okay.
So we did not accept bids for electrical and mechanical. They were today. So all the bids were open at this point for the middle school.
So when you open bids and there's, like, if you find that they all have the same mistake in them, you just return them to everybody?
We didn't open anything.
Okay.
No, we learned that there was an issue with the prevailing wage rates before bids were received.
Okay.
We tried to issue an addenda and still open the bids, but things were not processed in time. We talked to the Department of Education. We all agreed to extend the bids 2 days and receive those later.
How do you learn that there's a problem with not opening?
A contractor called and said the wage rates that we have are not the appropriate prevailing wage rates based on where this project's located. We called the Department of Labor and Industry. That person said, we're not really sure, we don't know, you're 200 feet from Philly, you're right on the line, so we really need to know. So ultimately, they came back and said, you're right, we have to reissue these, we'll have them to you shortly. called all the people bidding the project, would have been affected by it, so they knew. So no one left their office with the wrong information, did everything we could, emailed everybody the appropriate documents. But by the time they had those, and by the time they would have adjusted a bid, gotten the car and driven here, it was too late. So we said we're just going to issue an addendum extending and give them fair notice to come back.
Might there have been people who wanted to bid but didn't because of that issue?
No. We had a real good turnout of bidders in all categories for this. And I don't, we'll go over all the numbers, all the specifics. At the 31st, I'd like to get Holland in as well. That will tell you that bids were good for Newtown. We have to check. They're good.
Is that kind of like a coffee in Newtown Borough, you know, like $4, that's a good price? Is that what you mean?
No, this
Okay.
is better than that.
It's like when you go expect to spend 4, you spend 3.
Right, okay.
So, at any rate, we're in good shape. Holland Middle School's out to bid. Those bids are due the 22nd of this month. We'll get those. We'll combine everything. We'll take a look at the total package and see where we are across the board. They come back to you on the 31st.
Same for Denver Major, different rates.
They're the correct rates as far as we know. And we talked to L&I, and they agree that they're the appropriate rates today.
So when you look at the bids, because I've never gone through this process and there's so much money involved and there's so many layers. So do the architects help you go over the bids and validate that?
Sure, so what happens is we have Dewey Engineering here.
Right.
We have the architect with us. We have the mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineer as well, and the environmental consultant representative. And we open the bids, we look at base bids, we look at the alternates to see which ones, if everything fell into place and we could afford to accept, we would like to have, that would benefit us, value-added alternates. You know, using a more sustainable floor material or other product versus VCTs that you replaced in 6 to 10 years, things like that.
But you don't find cases where someone like left out a floor of a building, like, hey, this isn't
We
a
do,
valid
for
bid.
example, today, one of the electricians did not fill in an alternate that we know we wanted to accept. They may have been the low bidder, but because they didn't give us a bid for that alternate, they probably can't be considered.
Well, we also run into situations, I don't know how to hear, but when we built South, we had the addition of the little theater. And it actually, if you included the little theater, it shifted who the low bidder was in some categories. So where many of these will be discretionary things that truthfully Doug will wind up deciding because they fit together holistically. If there's some that become board discretion, then he has to really work out the live matrix, the live Excel spreadsheet, so that if we buy it, we get the right assessment. That's
Right, we could say, well, we don't want that, we'd like to do this, and when you do, it could take this contractor and make it a different contract.
But is there any latitude here? You have a person made a mistake and that the bid period's closed, but it's a mistake. I mean, do we have any freedom to say, you know what, you can go back, you missed this section?
Let me put it this way, if they put all the information in correctly, there's no irregularities in their documents,
Right.
but they believe that they made a mathematical error, they have, I think, 72 hours to withdraw their bid. So if after 72 hours and 1 second,
Right.
they didn't withdraw, we can legally obligate them to build the project for that cost.
But here they left out an alternate. Do we have any freedom to say,
Yeah,
go ahead and give
No.
us, no?
we can't say, because all the bids are open, so they can say, we would have been lower than that guy. That's our number.
Well, thanks for talking to me.
Yeah, no problem.
But they're still valid if we choose not to use that alternate.
If we don't use that alternate, they're still alive.
So if that alternate's in the mix,
Now, all of
they
these,
can't be there.
we go back and we look at their qualifications, look at their bonding, their bonds, their insurance, make sure that they actually meet the requirements of as well. So the bidding we talked about, we know where we are, we're going to be back on the 31st of March to go over those in great detail. And then hopefully on the 7th, as I said, move forward with those projects, start construction in late April and May of this year.
Back up one, Doug, this was just, you're planning on opening these schools fall of 18.
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
Yep. And then the existing middle school will be demolished, site finished by summer of 19. That'll be ends separated.
Yeah.
Just as we are on the other half building new, we'll just flip it. This is still out there, I'm gonna keep bringing it up because it will be, at some point, very important that we resolve the name of the Howland Middle School. So that we have the appropriate signage on the building,
I think it should be Trump. You might have to pay a lot.
whatever it wants to be, we'll need to know. So we're gonna keep this in front of you.
I thought we decided to investigate Amy Wood buildings. No?
No, thanks. I didn't, I mean, if you
I
guys
don't
are
think we
thinking,
decided anything on these.
Just talked about
Yeah, I don't think. I'm open to renaming buildings, I don't care.
well, then we need to know both rules.
What's real soon? Truth, what's real soon?
Probably 6 months. By the time they start ordering,
And this was a function of the fact that we're consolidating two middle schools, and that's why we want.
that's the reason for Holland.
Okay.
Newtown, I didn't think was an issue because it's Newtown, it's Space Newtown. Holland, because Richgrove's combining with Holland, presumably.
That's
So that's why I asked for that policy to come before us
Yeah.
sooner rather than later.
Newtown is a naming opportunity.
Well, how we gain buildings, yes.
have
policy on point well taken.
We don't.
So we're gonna, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you short, but I want to give
I
these guys
asked for it to be
time to present.
because I thought it was me.
So, we're gonna have Robin, President Richard Federo, give you a kind of a fly-through of the Newtown Middle School. And that'll be followed by David Schrader for Holland.
Now, is this going to capture just off the camera? That's true.
What I'd like to do, since there's some new board members, is just show you the way that the camera's gonna travel to the school. And without going into too much of a description of the school, basically you have a central entrance with the students that enter from this side and the public that can enter from this side. So that's all connected. Everything to this side is pretty much classrooms and academic space. Everything to this side is the shared use type spaces, except for a couple of classrooms down here for the physical education department. So the camera's going to come from this side of the building, it's going to come into the secure vestibule. We're going to go into the office like you would if you're a visitor, and you check in and you come back out into the lobby. We'll come down here, we'll come into the gym, look at this wall, we'll turn around and come back out, we'll look down this corridor, and then we'll proceed into the two-story lobby. You'll see the corridor from the second floor above over here, and then we'll come into the auditorium, come back out this door. Camera comes into the library, goes out into the courtyard, comes into the collaboration space, and then we go into a classroom, come down this corridor, come over, go up this stair to the second floor, and we'll go into a lab. And then we pop back out to the outside again. It's what the students will see when you get off the buses. We'll look down this way, and then we'll look down this way. We'll come in, go into the cafeteria, come down this corridor, come down here, go into the band room, and then we'll pop over to the auxiliary gym and into the fitness center, and then we're out of the building. When I show you this fly-through, please keep in mind that we're not dealing with colors. You're going to see a lot of gray tones, but there'll be a lot more color when we select the colors with you in a few months. So here's the front entrance to the building. These are the windows to the gymnasium. This is the fitness center for your orientation. Everything over that way is the two-story classroom.
I feel like there should be music.
Yeah.
The Newtown,
You want to put the Google
Your
Docs
slideshow
on?
mode.
Right.
Sorry, we didn't montage mode.
So this is the security booth. Here, you could have somebody sitting in here to have check-in if you want. We'll come in here though, and we'll go into the office building. You can see the lobby beyond and the bridges that come across the space. We'll go into the administration. You can see from the glass of the administration that they're gonna be able to view that whole side of the building. So they'll have a lot of supervision. These are the offices, the principal's office and the guidance suite towards the back. Now we're coming down, we're at the gym. We'll turn here and go into the gym.
It's gonna hurt a little bit.
Right. Right through the door. So in here, I think we have bleachers for a little under 1,000 students. And as you look here, you can see the clear story windows. Now we're back out in the lobby. You can see it, one of the bridges with the collaboration space up above. You'll see another one down here. We're going to turn and look down the main classroom corridor. Going back. The auditorium's on this side, the library's on this side. You can see the second floor corridor windows up here. There's that collaboration space. This wood paneling here is actually an acoustical panel, so it's going to absorb the sound in the lobby, so it's not bouncing. Now we're in the auditorium, you're looking at the stage. The stage is set up for an orchestra. Pop back out, we're going to go into the library. You can see that second floor corridor. This building will be very easy to supervise for the people that run, because you're able to see good vistas. There's not a lot of places where kids can get out of sight. Now we're in the library. This is the control desk. And in the seating area, the books are to the side. You come in. That's the other side of that. What's the last? That's the courtyard. Right, now we're out in the courtyard, and we're looking at the stair that goes up, which is directly across from the library. Here's that outdoor seating area outside the collaboration space. And now we're going to pop into the collaboration space. You can see it's 2 stories here, but we left the structure in so you can extend the floor if you want to add 2 classrooms. This one's open to the hallway. Of course, these lockers, you know, they could be a bright red color or blue. There's one thing.
So decent size.
Nice classroom, nice big windows with sunscreens. There's storage rather than a unit ventilator along the perimeter wall. You have a nice big display board with a short throw projector. That's the collaboration space again. We're heading east now, down towards the science wing.
Do all the classrooms have windows?
Yes, yes.
What's the height in the hallway?
Doug?
8 steps.
6. Okay, now we're gonna go up the stair. See back out into the courtyard again.
We're unclimbing staircases, or unclimbing the railings.
And so
You can't do it
Taylor
between
made the stairs wider.
You can't do it between, and you can't do it between the rails, that was the other concern.
Right, yeah, 4-inch
How many
maximum.
stairwells are there?
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stairs for the students to get from the first floor to the second floor. There's also another stair, but it's a utility stair to get up to the roof. Yep, here's a typical science lab. These are nice functional science labs because all these tables move. You can cluster them together and put them up against the sink around the perimeter so you have science labs.
And in South, the ventilation was an issue in the science spaces. I mean, it still is. Once it's bad for a long time. So did you think about the ventilation there?
Oh, sure, yeah, I'm sure we've designed it to code. I'm not sure what the issue is at South, but.
Well, I mean, in the science, you may be mixing acids or whatnot, and there's fumes. I mean, you normally, you don't really have fume hoods in a typical classroom, so I just wasn't sure what you'd provision.
I'll come back to that in a second. I just want to show you that you're looking at the cafeteria. You just came in the student entrance, so this is the cafeteria, and then we'll go back to the band room. But Bill, I think the labs in this building are really limited in the amount of chemicals and acids that they're going to use, and I don't believe you put fume hoods in because it wasn't a requirement, right?
That's true.
I don't think we have, do we have acid?
These are not fixed tables, right? These are gonna be full.
Those are all movable tables. You'll be able to move them completely out of the room.
I don't want to say wheelchair accessibility.
This is the backstage to the left, right where you want the music room. So now we're going to go into the band room. They'll be able to use the band room and the choral room for staging, for stage productions. plus they can move their instruments back and forth.
Acoustic tower.
That is acoustic tile, yes it is, all the way around. This was all engineered by an acoustical consultant. This is the auxiliary gym. You can have a wrestling match in here because there's bleachers. And then as we go through this wall, I just want to explain that we used to have a corridor here before we got into the fitness center, but that was one of Doug's suggestions of the value engineering to get rid of the corridor so we can go right into the fitness center. So that was one of the many things that saves square footage. Good sorry, fitness center. And that's it. If there's no questions, I'll set this up for David.
Go ahead, so while you're setting up, across from in the back of the auditorium, you seem to have a control center for the sound, the lights, and everything are in the back.
Yes.
When we did that at South, it became unworkable because generally, maybe for professional productions, it's good because the interaction with the stage is different, but for student productions, that was extremely problematic because the director or organizer was too far from the students. So
What we typically do on our projects, and I want to check and make sure that we did it on this one, because the engineers, it's a detail, but typically we have remote stations throughout the auditorium where you can set up a soundboard and the lights.
right, and that's ultimately what happened at South, and they put them in the wheelchair access place. So if that's going to be something to be done, please consider it because getting the wires to the right places.
I'm going to verify that
We
it's
definitely
not.
have a discussion about that.
Do
Yeah, we have to see what we end up doing there.
Because a student production, the director needs to be closer to the kids.
Yeah, I understand completely.
How large are the lockers in the school? Are they long lockers or?
Seventh grader size.
They're wide lockers. I can't remember.
Are they tall, though?
15 inch or 12 inch, but
I think
they're
they're
15.
They're
And they're stacked one above the other,
They're not full length.
right? It's not a full length lock.
2 feet. Either
So
15 by
kids are gonna walk
about-
around with their jackets on?
30.
They can fit their jackets in, they're just gonna slam their heads if you have a
You
dog.
could inflate it.
Yeah, that's,
Can't make them too big because they won't be able to reach.
Do you get seventh and eighth graders to wear jackets?
Yeah. Mine did.
Yours is good. Your kids wear coats? Seriously?
Yeah, most don't.
I,
see them in shorts.
One quick question on that.
Oh,
Security booth, what does the security booth connect to?
essentially the main office,
Okay, good.
yeah.
So it's not an isolated space that's gonna get, yeah, not used like our ticket booths, you know?
Right.
Okay,
Buildings team use.
yeah, good.
So just to orient you on the Holland project, the same way Robin just did, East Holland Road runs across here. And if you're familiar with today's entry, that's today's entry. So for the board members who have not spent as much time looking at this plan, the goal of this project was to flip where the new entry was so that the building really had a presence. So you'll see when you do the fly through that we've got a new front entry here and a new performance entry over here. This area is all addition. The rest of this is all renovation, and again, if you go through the building today, it's all those 45-degree metal walls, they will all come out. Everything comes out and gets turned into the same kind of interior as Robin showed you. So it'll be corridors with tile, it'll be classrooms with drywall, it'll be nice finishes, and they're all now rectilinear.
We just won't have windows and all.
You will. Oh, some of them you won't. Some of the science rooms you won't. Thank you.
That-
Good point.
Yeah,
Good point. And the one last thing I'd say is you'll hear Doug talk a little bit at some point in the future about an alternate for additional classrooms. That is down here. I'll show you in the flyby as well. We'll fly in the front entry. We'll come down a new front corridor that looks a little bit like what Robin did, trying to create some similar to what the other building is. We'll come down and into the band, across the stage and auditorium, out through the gym, come across to the dining area, and then into the tech ed lab. You'll come back up these stairs, and on the second floor, you'll go into the library and loop back around the pathway. So you're gonna come this direction and then go back through the building that direction with the flyby. Now, the caveat here is Robin's company uses a Mac-based 3D system. Ours is a Microsoft-based, actually Autodesk product, and it does not quite have the finished capability you'll see on the inside as that product does, but you'll get a good sense of what all the flyby does. If I can find the video, there we go. So you're on East Holland Road. We are taking all of the exterior off of that second floor, so all the metal goes away and you insert new window systems throughout in brick. We're gonna fly around the front side of the building. At night, you can come in and performing arts entry, and that also gets you into the gymnasium, and that keeps you separate from the academic side of the building. So you'll be able to come in two different areas depending on whether you're coming daytime or nighttime.
Performing arts and athletics, I like it.
Keeps the community, stuff the community separate.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but it's more than just athletics.
Oh, yeah.
Have a professional person come to you.
That's fine.
Around the backside, Robbie showed you at the end, the auxiliary gym areas. This is the backside entry to the gym. This is that classroom addition that will be an alternate in the future, and it's dependent on bids, obviously.
Back from Holland.
Yes, it's the opposite side. You're right.
All glass there?
There is some glass on the corners, but the balance, all the second floor is glass plus brick. And now you're on the bus side. This would be the side that we would all typically walk in today.
Right.
That now is where the bus drop off is only. So the students walk in there, they walk right into the cafeteria.
Do you have enough room with the other school next to it to do that?
We do. There's a little bit of reconfiguration. We got all the buses in now. Yep,
Oh, okay.
yep. So that,
Is the naming thing part of this? I like that all the entrances are named on the outside.
That's part of it.
the signage is in the project.
That's good.
Okay, so now you're coming in past the main entry. This is the new front walk area, so that glass that you saw in the front gives you some kind of presence like what you saw in Robbins. Again, we're trying to create some similarity between the two buildings, so they both have some similar feelings. Now you're gonna walk back into the performing arts side. There's the gym entry, the performing arts. Down through, you're gonna see a choral and strings room real quickly on the right, and then here's the band room. So walking in, it has a very similar feel to what Robin just showed you in terms of the lockers, the acoustical treatments, and so on. You might get a little dizzy. So back out on the stage, these are pretty nice stages that you've got in both projects. You're looking back, if you remember this project, the difference was we didn't do the depth, and instead we brought larger construction spaces up to a balcony. Those can be used for educational purposes, and then you open them up during a performance, and you have a two-level stage looking down. Same seating, though, is what Robin has in his project.
Using that instruction space.
Using the instructional space up on top. The gym, keep in mind you've got a decent wood floor here that'll be completely refinished and redone. The whole inside of the gym will be redone, new bleachers, new backboards and all of that, new drop-down screens, so everything's gonna feel new in the space.
It's exactly the size of the gym is now, right?
It is.
So that looked like it was only done for two courts.
What's the reconfiguration of the houses?
Now we're in the old space now.
So that's the question I
But this is all redone as well.
A long time
You did
ago.
ask him.
And I was told it would be the same.
So now
And
we're
I hope that would be.
it's currently a full space.
For $50 million, now I get less.
It's harmless, so we can never-
You wanna stop?
Yeah.
Can you go back?
Because.
Where would you like? Where would you like to go?
I want to go back to before the open area, it was the cafeteria.
Cafeteria?
We actually had bleachers, we added bleachers to facilitate students.
Let's pause it here for a second.
So we had bleachers on the end, and then we had three courts.
Reoriented.
Okay.
Just one
We
question
do
before
have
we start.
the auxiliary gym in our desks.
Does the auditorium come with
Don't worry about it.
Or-
The auditorium does not have a pit, either of ours has a pit.
Either one?
No.
You're done. Okay. That's fine. Right. You'll squeeze it.
Now, what we did do here, though, to try to maintain the accessibility for the whole, there's a chairlift that was put in over here. And that'll help us maintain the circulation around and down into the space.
Is the elevator in the second floor behind the chairlift as I'm looking at it?
Yeah, so the elevator
One of the elevators.
is completely reconfigured, it's a new cab and everything, or at least newly finished cab with controls. And then there's a new elevator over next to the auditorium side.
On the left-hand side where we wouldn't see, but in that image, back over where you are, there are currently two ramps to get down
That's
that back area. Are they going to maintain?
They're gonna be maintained, and that's why we're putting the chairlift in, so the space does have the accessibility as well.
But you maintain the
We
two
are.
ramps as well.
Believe it or not, they're about a hair off of ADA requirement.
We have to reconstruct the right.
Just to be, to say it another way, then you can start videoing. Can you come down one and go up the other? Are there going to be two? Okay, that was my question. Because otherwise, I'm looking for my.
Now, we left them all. Yeah.
Or they built the right platform.
Slide on.
There you go.
Finally got the music video.
We should stand.
So that would be the student entry, and this is where the office used to be. Now it's going to have classrooms. You're coming down to the tech ed. Yeah, this is completely reconstructed.
Is that better than the other side?
Right. So now into the tech ed area. And what you're going to see when you walk in these two buildings are the same finishes throughout, the same layouts throughout the spaces. It's just how you configure.
We're gonna use the
them.
same finishes on all of them.
They generally are the same finishes. Yep.
Yeah, so now, to the right is the cafeteria, is the kitchen,
This is the kitchen, that's correct.
How many
and there's the
stairs
red.
do we have?
You have 4 main, plus you have a central stair now. There's a new central stair right here.
Okay.
So we were trying desperately to connect the 2 floors together, so everybody can now come out of the cafeteria and go straight up and be on the 2nd floor without having to go through a dark cavernous corridor. So now you'll come right off that stairway into the library. Library is completely reconfigured and redone.
So they have glass all the way around?
Yes, at the top, yep. That was something they definitely wanted to keep.
I know, that's why I asked.
Yes, you have clear story windows up above all the way around, or at least on 2 sides, pardon me. And you saw new computer classrooms adjacent to it as well. Now this just goes down through the typical rooms. Again, forget about the colors, as Robin said, but you see the cabinetry throughout. You see new windows throughout that building. That's going to be something new for everybody.
Electronics.
Yes. Lockers, the same as what Robin was showing you. Science rooms, again, this is shown with these against the wall. Robin showed them in the center. They're all movable, so you can set up the lab any way you want the lab set up.
Smaller.
I think the video is making it smaller. They're all the same. Yeah.
Not exactly.
Space ended up pretty much.
Within 10 and 15 feet of each other.
Two projects, yeah.
So you saw the nice windows, lots of daylighting in through the building now. The lockers are the same size in both buildings. And this just brings you back down and down to the end of the corridor. But no more 45-degree angles coming along. It's 2 main corridors running back and forth on the 2nd floor on either side of the library. And this is the connector visually back and forth to the gym.
It's awesome.
I ended it just.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Doug, is that all we have for the agenda?
I have, just,
Only 'cause I was hoping we could grab 15 minutes before the board meeting for an exec
I
session.
have just a minute left,
Okay, cool.
literally. So I had a bunch of remedies in case those at home can see the video. Matt was kind enough to set this up.
You're gonna put all those online?
Yeah, I actually am, yeah, I'm gonna put them on our website.
How about the movies, are they?
I don't know if
They're pretty big.
Are they okay?
You can certainly try.
That's
You know,
fun.
actually, we uploaded one to YouTube.
YouTube.
Want to do something like that, there's a way to do that. Okay.
So this is just a quick overview that the summer projects are also being bid right now. Working on that. Those bids will be due March the 8th. I was going to bring this to you on the 31st of March. Clearly with middle schools, I'm not. So I'm going to bring those to you on the 20th of April. And then the second board meeting in April, try to get those approved. So that's really the big thing with summer projects, just so you know, we're going to split them apart and pull them away from what's happening here. We do have good competition for the packages. These are looking good. A lot of questions, a couple projects, still in the works. Roof replacement for Welsh, not replacement, but repairs. And the floor deflection itself, we're working on doing some testing and getting those documents together as well.
That's the second reflection.
That's the second deflection. And that is it. So, thank you. Sorry for my voice.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you, Dave. Stop the markings.
Public comments?
Public comments, yeah.
Any comments? Any public comments?
All right. Thanks, Doug. All right, we're gonna try and have a quick executive session.